Since there aren't too many of us, why don't you guys come ahead so we can have a nice conversation. Thanks a lot. And some exercise in the morning is good, right? Chalo, utho, 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 utho. Jaldi, 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 jaldi. I don't have much time. I'm already 6 minutes late. Okay, then I'll come back, okay, if you don't mind. Okay, good morning, everybody. You know, the numbers are low. That doesn't make the noise should be low, right? Doesn't mean that. So, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, so I am father of Zuzu. She's Baghdadi. As a young father, every young father rather is a user experience designer. Okay, without a choice. So am I. I won't qualify the statement. All young fathers know what I'm talking about, right? And those who are not will, at some point of time, will know what I'm talking about. I have been an automobile engineer by education. Never really worked with it. It's good for all of us because we have good stuff happening in the automobile area. And I've been in advertising, e-learning, and I found my home as a technical writer. And I've been a technical writer for last 12 years. Currently, I am a manager of ID and globalization at IBM. It's a role, but at heart, I am still a technical writer. Okay. So what qualifies me to talk about user experience design? So prior to being in IBM, I was with a Web 2.0 organization. And in that organization, the way we functioned was the writers, it was a startup, so a small place. So the writers, the user experience designers, the product managers, they all worked in one team. So there was literally no differentiation in roles, you can say, because each was able to give the other feedback and take that feedback and process it. Well, I invariably ended up doing a lot of user experience design, not realizing I was. And interestingly, we had very little documentation, very little. Most of my time went in how to improve the UI, how to make it more intuitive. And we were also conducting some usability workshops where I participated to kind of understand what's happening. So being in the analytics over there. So what I'm going to talk today, it's not very at a very detailed level. It's still at a high level, but it's from that experience. And I'm going to be disruptive today, okay? I'm going to tell you at the end of the session, technical communication or technical writers, as they are, may not be necessary tomorrow, okay? So let me start with that thought, and hopefully we will have a conversation, debate, whatever you want to call it, at the end of it. How many of you know the fable, the fox and the crane? Okay, not too many. Okay. So once upon a time, there was a fox and a crane. The fox invited the crane to her house for dinner and served the crane lentil soup in a flat dish. Okay. I think even I should invite fox to dinner. And so she invited fox to dinner. Okay. Now, what's that vessel called? Anybody knows what it's called? Sorry, loudly please. It's a flagon. Okay. At least the story says it's a flagon. Okay. So it's an interesting thing. And of course, this time the fox could not have any of the soup and went hungry. Okay. So what are the takeaways? What is the moral of the story as we tell our tit for tat? Okay, thank you. What else?
A single dish or a single container cannot serve everybody.
One size doesn't fit all different requirement. All correct. Okay. But why? Let's think about why. Yes, I think that's what I'm going to tell at the end of it. You should think about everything really, but now I just want you to give one perspective. Okay, a fox. Okay, okay. So here's my perspective. A fox is a fox. A crane is a crane. A fox does not eat from a flagon. A crane does not eat from a flat dish. Why would a fox have a flagon in her house? Okay. Now, fox will not have any vessels in their house. So, but I just want you all to imagine a little bit. But why would a fox have a flagon particularly? Why would a crane have a flat dish? Because it's of no use to them. I don't know how many of you have been to the Southeast Asian countries. What is the concept of vegetarian soup there?
Fish.
It's soup without fish, right? I mean, they just remove the fish from the soup and say it's vegetarian. Are they intending to be offensive? It's cultural, right? Yeah. But think about it this way. If we don't actively think about the user experience, we end up creating bad design. Right? If we do not invest our time, our thoughts in what will work for the user, we end up creating bad design. So bad design is, so what is bad design? Bad design is product of not actively thinking about design at all. So any design by default is bad design unless, right? So one of my, I would like to urge all of you to think about it. Because if we just start thinking about it, we probably will do much better job at design. Hey, Hemant. Okay, Hemant arrived right at the right moment. Okay. So when we did this in the regional conference, I asked people to talk about an experience. What do you think is an experience? So I won't go there right now, but anyone else, anybody else who wants to say what an experience is?
Whenever you appeal to any of the senses or sensibility of the receiver.
Anyone else?
The process of doing something.
Process of doing something.
Of having known something before.
Learning from mistakes.
Learning from mistakes, okay. In the interest of time, I'm going to not take any more. Here's a good way to define experience. I mean, an interaction with a product or a service or a company and how you feel at the end of it. Okay, so it's a very boring chart, right? But it is what it is. I mean, think about it. Any experience could be in these three parameters. And the fourth parameter which I want to talk to you about, or rather fourth and fifth, is the user and time. So you see that clock flying? I think we have not realized, but user experience is a factor of time. Okay. We are, I think most people here are from the Generation X, right? People born in around 70s, from 60s to 70s, 60s to 80s, or late 70s. How many millennials here? People born in the 80s and towards here. Okay. And how many from the next generation? I call it the swipers. So from 2000, nobody, I'm guessing no one that young is here. Okay. But my daughter has already started swiping, and she started at 2 years old. She's now 4. She had already started swiping on the mobile phone. Okay. So the experience they are going to ask for is going to be very different from what we are happy with, or what the millennials are happy with. Millennials are slightly more advanced than the Generation X. I think Generation X has a lot more tolerance. I'm also part of generation, right? Okay. So there's a lot more tolerance there, and I don't know whether we should call it tolerance or something else, but it's interesting. I think 15 years or 10 years from now, our user is going to be someone very different. Right? And we need to ask ourselves or think of that time maybe from now onwards. I don't know. Why? So I'm going to show you a clip from the movie Invincibles to kind of give you some background on it.
What is it? Who are you? What do you want? Oh my God, you've gotten fat. Come in, come. Yes, things are going quite well. My God, no complaints. But, you know, it is not the same at all.
Weren't you just in the news? Some show in Prague?
Milan, darling, Milan. Super ones. Ha! Nothing super about them. Spoiled, stupid little stick figures with poofy lips who think only about themselves. I used to design for gods. But perhaps you'll come with a challenge, eh? I was surprised to get your call.
I just need a patch job.
This is Mega Mesh, outmoded but very sturdy, and you've torn right through it. What have you been doing, Robert? Moonlighting hero work?
Must have happened a long time ago.
I see. This is a hobo suit, darling. Now you can't be seen in this. I won't allow it. 15 years ago, maybe, but now...
Oh, what do you mean? You designed it.
I never look back, darling. It distracts from the now. You need a new suit. That much is certain.
A new suit? Oh, where the heck am I going to get a new
You
suit?
can't! It's impossible! I'm far too busy, so ask me now before I again become sane.
Wait, you want to make me a suit?
You push too hard, darling, but I accept. It will be bold, dramatic, heroic.
Yeah, something classic, like Dyna Guy. Oh, he had a great look. Oh, the cape and the boots.
No capes.
Isn't that my decision?
Do you remember Thunderhead? Tall, storm powers. Nice man, good with kids.
Listen.
November 15th of 58. All was well, another day saved, when his cape snagged on a missile pin.
Thunderhead was not the brightest bulb.
Stratogale, April 23rd, 57. Cape caught in a jet turbine.
You can't generalize about this.
Metaman, express elevator, Dyna Guy, snag on takeoff, splashdown, sucked into a vortex. No capes. No, go on. Your new suit will be finished before your next assignment.
You know I'm retired from hero work.
As am I, Robert. Yet here we are.
I only need a patch job for sentimental reasons.
Fine. I saw something. What is it? Who? I saw something. I saw something.
Okay. So this is a scene between Edna Mode, who's the costume designer for superheroes. Okay, I think I would like to have such a job, and Mr. Invincible or Bob Spar. And what do you think happened?
The designs didn't work.
The capes thing, right? That's what you're referring to. Okay. Anyone else wants to add anything? He just wanted a patch, and she's giving the whole 9 yards. I don't know. Okay.
Learning from the experience. She's actually learning from the experience of the capes.
That distracts from now, right? That
Yeah.
statement. Yeah. Okay. What else? So what she's saying is that now, I mean, she'd done something in the past and she wants to improve on the design and she said, okay, this is bad. You don't want to be seen in it. Okay. So if ever you design costumes for superheroes, will you ever include capes in the design? Will anyone still include capes? Yes? Okay. Can you give me a reason why?
Doesn't Batman have a cape? I don't know.
Okay. So this is like the, you know, the best practices thing that was being talked about yesterday. Batman has it, Superman has it, they are still doing fine.
Be a popular superhero.
Okay, so what you're saying is people, superheroes without capes are not going to be popular. Okay, I'll take that. Okay, there's one more, so.
Yeah, it was an important point, but metaphysically the cape represents, you know, the dark side. So.
Sorry, I didn't see your hand.
Yeah, maybe. So with maybe a cape which resolves the problems which are displayed here. If at all, there has to be a cape.
Okay, fine. So I like things that, no, there's some stuff not covered here. There's a metaphysical angle to this, which is all valid. Okay, so not all. Okay, Santrika.
Yeah, aesthetics also matter.
Aesthetics. Okay, so what is aesthetics? Okay, we'll come to that a little bit. But what is aesthetics? One thing we should try to answer ourselves at some point of time. I'm going to move. So basically the point over here was somebody thought of, you know, of the user. You know, I don't want you to die like any of those 5 people who died. So I'm not going to give you a cape, whether you want it or not. So, you know, the person who's designing or the person who's thinking of the user is going above and beyond the user. So what the user wants may not really be the right thing. Right? This is just to highlight that point. We can take this debate offline if you like. So when is the value of doing user experience design? Okay. Again, this is a very, so after every nice slide comes a boring diagram. So we obviously have 2 things, right? The business in mind and the user in mind. How many times has your manager said that business is more important, right, than anything else? I think we all get that. So we all have to be oriented towards business. And we also have to be oriented towards users. There are lots of activities that are happening in this world which are oriented towards only one direction. So we all know that some organizations, some companies, maybe small or big, that just want to make money and don't care about the customers. I don't want to name any of them. Okay, I don't want to get targeted by them. And of course, there are smaller things which are oriented towards users. Correct? So, like my mother's catering business, right? The biryani. I spoke about it last time and everybody wanted to have biryani after that, so I'm not going to go into the details there. But my mother likes to provide biryani to people, and she does it. She doesn't make too much money of it. People say nice things to her, and that's about it. The end user is happy. I don't know. I have to work for that biryani sometimes, cut onions. Okay, it doesn't make me happy. So maybe, yeah, that doesn't work. But there is this intersection which user experience design is very well fit for. So where business and the user best intentions meet for both of these organizations, is where user experience design makes sense. So that's, in my opinion, the value of user experience design. Okay. So I'm going to briefly talk about the role of a user experience designer. I don't want to kind of get into it because then it's a session in itself. And I'm not the best person to really talk about it. So, there's a lot of material online which you can go through. I just will talk about what are the different bits that a user experience designer does. User research. So what user research is really is defining the user. Who's going to be the user? Okay. Then content strategy or information. So this is more oriented, if you see, towards the web products, this slide. But yeah, I think there are parallels for web products and other products as well. Information architecture, content strategy, information architecture, I guess this audience is very well versed with what it does. There's interaction design, as in the interaction of the users with the product. Then there is visual design or aesthetics. Okay, and that's why I didn't continue that point there. Aesthetics. So how was beauty invented, or how was aesthetics invented? Or what is good looking? Why are certain tribes in Africa good looking for the other genders, while we don't find them good looking? Right, with their whole piercing, and I saw something on Discovery the other day where the entire nose was pierced and there were rings around the throat, and that's beautiful for some people. Okay, I think we've groomed into accepting beauty, like the she bear and the he bear. Why do they like each other? They don't look good. So think about what aesthetics is. I think it's very functional. What works in design would probably be beautiful, is how I want to put it. Okay, I could be wrong, okay? Don't be disappointed. And usability analysis, okay? So all these bits could be done individually by different people in the user experience design role. So user experience design role person could just do user research, could just do interaction design, could just do usability analysis, and still work. But I think currently most organizations are kind of hiring people who have a combination of multiple skills, at least, if not all of them. Okay. So I have 10 minutes more, and I'm going to quickly talk about another boring chart. This is the process. What happens usually, or what's a nice way to do user experience design is, let's not get waterfall and agile here, but any design needs to be run through to the user, get some feedback, some interaction, understanding, go back to your drawing board, make whatever changes are necessary, and then try it again until it works. And it could be released in the meantime, or it could be in its draft process, but typically this is the design process. Okay, so that brings me to a debate. Okay, since I have 10 minutes, I have a couple of slides which are more interesting. So let's start the debate. What is this? How many of you have seen this in real life, not in pictures? Okay, almost everyone. How many of you have used it? Wow, you guys are old. Okay. For a short time, okay. You want to say something? Okay, so that's what you're trying.
Whether I use it or not, young people can have it as an ornamental piece.
Okay, so she's just trying to say she's young, okay? Yeah, but didn't Alexander Graham Bell invent this? What did he invent? He invented a telephone. This is the telephone. What did he invent? Sorry? No, he actually invented some device, right? He did, right?
Yeah, but it looked very different.
It looked very different, thanks. That's what I was getting to. So the instrument looked very different from this phone. And this phone, if he would have seen it, he would have said, oh wow, this is good design. Wouldn't he? So what is good design today? This is not good design anymore. Why? Sorry. Who's saying that? I'm not getting it. Raise your hand, please. Not contemporary. Okay. What do you mean by contemporary?
It is a good design.
Okay.
It cannot hold currently.
Okay. So it is. So when you say not contemporary, I would say the technology that is available now is much better, and this does not make any sense anymore. It's okay to have a kind of antique value in your house or something like that.
It's not usable anymore.
It's not usable anymore, okay? Okay, okay, so usable, again. Okay. Okay.
Want to have different devices for different types of
Okay.
communication.
Okay, fine. Yeah, fair enough. All good points.
So now we expect more from a phone. This won't fulfill all my expectations.
Thanks a lot.
Simplicity as well. I mean, in design, there are simpler phones available which are much more capable.
So this phone can be used as a weapon is what he's saying. You can throw it at somebody and kill them.
No, actually, today we have landlines at home, but they are with caller IDs and many other features. So I believe, yes, it is a good design, but today, I mean, it doesn't serve the purpose. Yeah.
Okay. So the entire pulse dialing, it gives some satisfaction to your fingers, but that's not true anymore. Okay. One last point, then I'm going to sum up. Okay. User requirements have increased.
If it is still usable, in the sense it still works with the current infrastructure, but eventually it will not be. And I think it comes back to your point of time. If I were to dial from this phone versus a tone phone, then I would obviously go for a tone phone because it's faster.
You cannot send message using this.
Okay, yeah, that's what. Even Hemant had the same point. Okay, last one. Sorry, guys.
So as you said, right? Companies look out for people who have more abilities, more capable. Like that, users look out for options which have more, technologies, more features.
Yeah, I think you all summed it up for me. So we're using our current phone for a lot of things, right? You're using your current phone for mails, for pictures, right? So yeah, future's past, and the current future is also going to be past at some point of time. That was my point. And that brings me to the last 2 minutes, and this is another debate. So what is user experience design? How many say art? Raise your hands high up in the air. No, what are you leaning towards? Okay, this is what I'm saying. Art. How many of you say art? How many of you say science? Science. So Makran, you're cheating. Your hand is up in both places. Okay, it seems like a divided house, okay? Maybe we should do a debate next time around. But in my opinion, user experience design is pure science. Pure science, absolutely pure science. And why am I saying this? Because you're doing research. You're trying to figure out what is the user needing and giving that person that. Right? When user experience done well, it looks like art. I mean, I know why all of you are saying art, because when you derive that nice satisfaction from using the latest gadget or from something like an app on your phone, you think it's art. But it's all technology. It's people like you and me who have done that. And we all should continue thinking. Bakran, you have something to say?
See, making the sketch or the painting is an art. But then you need the paint, right?
Right.
And it's science to manufacture the paint.
Right. So what you're saying is how the ultimate picture becomes art. But the contributing factors are all...
It is an art for the user.
Okay.
Right? But while I'm developing it, for me it is science.
Science. Okay. I think that's a good way to conclude this. I just want to check how many of you know... No, it's the other way around. Without the science, it doesn't work.
All right. I know.
And art?
I was an iPhone user. Yeah. You go ahead and make the point. What I'm going to do is I'm going to request Joe to take stage and disconnect your...
Yes.
You guys go ahead. You guys go ahead till the time we get him connected.
Joe, we are waiting for you. So until then, I'm going to just talk till you come up. No, I think I'm done. So all I want to say is be bold, do things, and let's take whatever you want to take discussions offline. So we'll talk more. But be bold, do stuff that you want to do, live long and prosper, go where no human being has gone before. Thank you, everyone.